Righto, tally-o there, champs, and yes, it is daddy time. Daddy's coming home, and yeah, this is the Alienware m15, the new version, 10th generation CPUs in this one, and of course it's packed premium like every other Alienware you're gonna get. And yes, it's the Legend ID, it's the same design as the last model. And that's a good thing, right? Everybody tries to be Alienware, but they're not Alienware. And all these other gaming laptops that try and make their laptops look like, well, Alienware or science fiction inspired or whatever, they just fail. Just Alienware are the only ones that can do this, they're the only ones that get away with it, and they tread that line of not being over the top and gimmicky. And even though this is science fiction inspired, alien inspired, it's still nice and clean. And maybe Asus sort of get away with some of theirs, but even theirs are a bit over the top sometimes. So really, you just stop copying Alienware. Alienware are the only ones that can do this stuff. And this thing here is loaded. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this in a thin and light. We're talking i9 10980HK and an RTX 2080 Super. Wolf. Yes, the super duper here. So it's a 10th generation, the latest super CPUs. This one does have 32 gigs as well. And of course, what would you need all that power for? Of course, to play the Care Bear game. You need all that 8 cores overclocking with RTX 2080 Super. Just so you can play this at 60 FPS, baby. That's how we do it. Wolf. So this is my first look at this. We're going to do hardcore thermal tests. As you can see there, it's outputting on an external monitor. Yes, this is an AOC 34-inch widescreen monitor, 144 Hertz. And let me tell you, I've been playing Flight Sim on it and it is epic. So stay tuned for the review of that monitor. So when it comes to this Alienware, it's a thin and light and yeah, max Q parts, etc. What you're looking for in this sort of laptop is, you know, to give the 90 watts to the GPU, hopefully over 45 watts to the CPU at the same time, of course, and get roughly 130 to 150 sort of watts. You know, that's sort of like the range of a thin and light, maybe up to 160. And if you get that, you'll be happy. So let's get into thermals. Let's slam it here. And we're going to slam it with CPU 100% Cinebench. And remember, there's some AVX in there as well. So, you know, this really heats up the CPU. In a gaming load, the CPU is not going to heat up this much. Also, we're slamming that GPU 100% as well. And yeah, we're getting well over 200 watts there. It's a 250 watt package with the power brick there. And if we put up the temperature and the telemetry here, what you can see is the CPU is 100 degrees. Yes, that's fine. I have no issue with that as long as we're getting the performance out of the CPU, because who really cares what the temperature of the machine is? We just want the performance, right? And as you can see, they let the horses run free with this Alienware, because you saw before, it was over 200 watts, PL1, PL2. So they allow it to go as hard as it can go. Pretty much the thermals are governing how fast this goes. And you can see 100 degrees. A lot of people will be concerned with that. But this is built with a really robust power system. The power delivery to phases. 100 degrees is no problem for this. And do you think you can tell the difference between, you know, a laptop that's going 85 degrees, probably power limited, and a laptop that's 100 degrees? They're friggin' loud AF anyway, so you can't tell the difference in, you know, an audible difference with the fan. So don't even look inside at the temperature. But what we can see here is, yes, maintaining over 60 watts while we're pumping 90 watts into that GPU. And what's interesting is, even when it settles down, I'll leave this on for you, even when it settles down after the boost states, we're still getting over 60 watts on the CPU with the GPU 100% as well, with 90 watts being pumped into that. That's exactly what you want. So this laptop gets a pass there. For me, that's all I need to know. Of course, I'm going to do some gaming benchmarks in another video for you. But for me, I just do this test. I know a gaming load won't be this hard. And if I'm getting, you know, 60 watts on the CPU, I would actually be happy with 45 watts on the CPU total, whilst we're still getting a full 90 watts on the GPU. And that's what you want. You want to always give the power to the GPU in a gaming laptop. That's a win. So you know this is going to perform good. We pretty much know what these parts sort of do. And because this is an i9, you can undervolt this. So you can imagine if you undervolt it, you'll get a 5-10 watt increase in sort of, you know, power on that CPU. Of course, this will be chip specific. I did have it in its overclock 1 profile. Overclock 2 profile would crash. So I'll put it in overclock 1. I'll put it on performance mode. The Alienware for the win here, because, you know, compared to other gaming laptops, heaps better keyboard, heaps better trackpad. You know, the build quality, the actual design of it is like everybody's trying to imitate it. You're not Alienware, you're not going to look like this. And this thing here has a G-banger too. This is a G-Sync display, 144Hz, 1080p G-Sync display. You can get a 300Hz display as well. So woof, I'm very happy with it so far. We're going to get the game review and full review coming soon. And I have a white XPS 15. Oh my god, it's so sexy. Sexy. Yes, it is. And yeah, I'm going to hook that up to a GPU and see how hard we can go. So anyway, catch you in the next one. Tally ho.